Hey everyone, welcome back to the Workplace and Apprenticeship 20 videos. In this video, we're going to look at lesson 1 from chapter 6, which is talking about choosing an account. So in the last lesson that we talked about in class, we looked at discussing what kind of purchases we make, what type of cards are possible to get from a bank, and why we might choose those different accounts. So in this lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to look at a bank and the different accounts that they offer, and we're going to see which account would be best for that person. Because when we're trying to choose an account or even a type of debit card or credit card, it's really important to know your own spending habits. So what we have to do is we have to consider each person's separate case. So we're going to look at example number 1 from your notes, where we're going to look at adding up the cost for if we were to take each account and then choose which account would be the cheapest for that person. So Laura is studying fashion design at Kwantlen University in Vancouver, BC. She has $6,500 in savings to cover her living expenses during her first 3 months of study. Laura wants to open a new bank account, and her monthly living expenses are $2,000. She estimates that she will need to write about 2 checks, pay 4 bills online, and use her bank card for about 10 transactions each month. So the Northwest Bank of Canada offers 4 types of accounts. Which account would be the least expensive choice for Laura? So looking down here at this chart provided by the Northwest Bank of Canada service, here they give us a variety of different, a variety of information that tells us about each account. So here we have our monthly fee. So this is what the person would be charged if they went with that account. Some banks will offer to waive that monthly fee if you have a minimum balance in that bank account. And they'll also talk about transactions that are covered by that monthly fee. So this would include writing checks, taking out money, paying bills, debit purchases, say if you're buying something at the store, or even transfers within that bank or the bank accounts. Then there's also charges for if you go over that transaction covered by that monthly fee. And they also talk about how much it costs to withdraw money from a different bank's ATM. So if you look here, there's quite a variety of information looking at the top here for each of those accounts. There's some that range from $3.90 per month up to $24.50 per month. So it's really up to that person's spending habits, because if they don't make very many transactions, they might want to go with this value account. But if they make a lot of transactions, it might be cheaper to go with that $24.50 account. So it's really important to consider each of the different features, because right now, if I'm looking at this monthly fee, I'm definitely going to want to either go with the value account or even that bonus savings account. But I also have to consider what other types of transactions I'm going to make. So here's just some different information. So with the first value account, your fee would be waived if you had a minimum $1,000 balance in your account. With the self-service, it'd be $1,500, and full service would be $2,000. And obviously, no fee would have to be waived since there's no monthly fee on that bonus savings account. So looking down here at our number of transactions covered, for the value account, we get 10 self-service covered, 25 self-service covered with the self-service account. With the full service, you get 40 self-service or even teller assisted. And with the bonus savings account, you'd only get 2 debit transactions covered without paying anything. So charges for additional transactions not covered by your monthly fee. So for your first 2 accounts here, it would be 50 cents for each self-service account or transaction, and then $1 for each teller-assisted transaction. So that'd be if you went up to the bank teller and had to get them to actually assist you in making some sort of transaction, whether it's a withdrawal, deposit, anything like that. So for that third account, you'd only have to pay 25 cents for that self-service transaction. And if you went with that bonus savings, it'd be $1.25 for each transaction, whether it's self-service or teller-assisted transactions. So if you went with the first 2 accounts, also in terms of the non-bank ATM withdrawals, you get charged $1.50, and the other 2 accounts would not have any kind of fees related to the withdrawals. One last thing here is the bonus savings account. Down there you have a daily interest that grows with your balance. And it doesn't state what type of interest, but typically when we're talking about daily interest, they're typically not very high rates. You got to remember that banks want to make money, so they're probably going to be a very low interest rate that might give you maybe even a couple cents based on how much money you have in your account. So it's usually based off of a very low amount. So we have to consider all of these different aspects of the accounts when we're trying to figure out which account would be the best for Laura. So in order to do that, it's really important. Let's go back and look at some of her information. So we know that she starts off with $6,500, and this is to cover her first 3 months of study. We know that she wants to open an account, and her monthly living expenses are $2,000. So within each month, she's going to write 2 checks. She'll pay 4 bills online and use about 10 transactions per month. So right here, these ones here are all going to be your self-service transactions. So in total, we're looking at 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 10 is 16 total transactions. So that there's going to be really important to know for when you're choosing a different account. So let's go down and let's even just see if we can eliminate one of those possibilities. So when we're looking at the 4 different types of accounts here, I'm going to say that there's already one account that we can already eliminate from one of our possibilities. And that one there is going to be this bonus savings account. And the reason why I say that is because this one here charges you $1.25 for each transaction, and only 2 of these are being covered. So all in all, 2 of hers would be covered, so she'd be looking at a total of 14 transactions that she'd have to pay for. So we're easily looking at around $18 minimum, probably even more with this $1.25 per transaction. So someone might argue, well then why don't we cancel this full service account? And the reason why I might actually still consider that is because you could possibly have this monthly fee waived if you have, or Laura has, $2,000 in her account. We know that for the first month and maybe second month, she might have that amount. So this might be something you still want to consider, because this one here would have 40 free transactions, whether or not they're self-service or teller related. So we're going to immediately not even consider this bonus savings account, but we should look at the other accounts though. And to do that, we're going to fill out this chart that I have below here, and we're going to calculate the cost for each account for each month. So looking at our first month, we're going to look at the approximate minimum monthly balance. And so at the end of Laura's first month, she started with $6,500. And then by the end of that month, she's used up $2,000 from her living expenses. So that means that Laura would have $4,500 in her account at the end of that month. So now let's go through each of those monthly fees for each of those accounts. So look at your value account. If you scroll back up, you can see that she needed a minimum of $1,000. So that means this fee, monthly fee, would be waived. Same with the second account, and same with the third. She's got $4,500, so all of these account fees would be waived. So here we'd have $0, $0, and $0 for that account fee, because all of them have been waived. They're all above that minimum, so she is okay. So then we can look at her total charges that she would occur or accumulate from having those transactions. So we know she had 16 transactions in total, but we do know that some of them would be free. So look at each of those accounts. So with your first account, you had 10 total self-service transactions that were covered, and we know that she had 16, which means that 6 of them will not be covered. So here we'll be looking at 50 cents for each of those transactions, and there's 6 that are not covered. Moving on to the self-service account, you had 25 that were covered, so she is fine there. And same with our full service. She doesn't have to pay there, so she's fine. So here are your total transaction charges. There was going to be 6 transactions that were not covered, and times it by that fee, you would be charged $3 for that month for your transactions. And the other ones were covered, so we're going to put that as $0 and $0. So right now you're kind of even seeing, well, we're already looking at this first value count even being a little bit more costly than the other two accounts. So that initial monthly fee looked a little bit scary, but as long as you have a minimum amount, the second and third account are looking pretty good right now. So now let's go down to the second month. So with your second month, Laura at the beginning of the month had $4,500, and she spent $2,000 on her living expenses. That left her with $2,500 in that account. So then let's go back and look at her monthly fee. So will she have to pay a monthly fee for any of these accounts? So she has $2,500 right now in her account. And so looking at her totals here again, once again, her $2,500 is over all three of these amounts. So she would never actually pay that monthly fee for that month. So we're at $0, $0, and $0. So then let's look back at her transaction charges, and that there doesn't change, assuming that she has the exact same transactions per month. So once again, she's going to pay $3 for the first month, for the first account, sorry, $0 for the second, and $0 for the third. So her number of transactions didn't change, and the number of transactions covered didn't change whether or not Laura had this minimum monthly balance in her account. So now we can look at month number 3. So at the beginning of her third month, she would have had $2,500, and she would have spent $2,000 on living expenses, which leaves her only with $500 in that account. So let's go and see if she, in fact, has to pay any of those monthly fees. So she's at $500, which means she has to pay for the first one, the second one, and the third account. So she's going to pay $3.90 for your first account, $10.90 for the second account, and this one here actually has the little condition that as long as she's a student, she would receive 50% off. So she'd get 50% off this $10.90. And then for the third account, she'd have $24.50. So let's fill in those values. So our first one here was $3.90. The second one was half of $10.90. So she received 50% off, meaning we can multiply by 0.5. That there would give us $5.45. And then the third account was $24.50. Then looking at those transaction charges, once again, for the first account, you have $3, $0 for the second, $0 for the third. So then we can find a total for each of the 3 months. And so essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take each of those monthly fees and each of those transactions and add them up. So for our first account, we had $0 plus $3 plus $0 plus $3 plus $3.90 plus $3. So if you add that up, Laura would pay $12.90 for that account if she chooses that first account. Look at the second account. For the first 2 months, she didn't pay a single cent for that account up until you got to the third month, which here she had to pay $5.45. Then looking at her third account option, there was $0 for the first 2 months and then $24.50 for that third month. So when looking at which account Laura should go with, well, which one is cheaper? And in this case here, the second account, or that self-service account, would be the cheaper option. So you should say Laura will choose the second account or the self-service account.